And welcome back to Moto Tales. So today we're going up this road. It's called Hayter's Gap Road. It's in Virginia. It's not very far from Abingdon, Virginia, Bristol, Virginia, that area. It's not a very long road. I mean, the roads getting to it are scenic and pretty, and they're fun to ride. But this one section here I think is worth talking about. It's only about, I'll say 3 to 4 miles long. But it basically goes straight up the side of Clinch Mountain. And the only thing that's really up there is there's great channels. It's a hiking area. It's like a 5-mile hike to go see some cool stuff and get some, have a very good panoramic view of everything around. But the road, I'm guessing I'm probably about 2,000 feet elevation here. So we're going to gain about probably 1,000 feet of elevation in the next 2 miles, which is fairly significant and steep. I don't know the exact numbers, so if you go do the math on it, you'll probably be like, it's not possible. But, whatever it is, we go straight up the side of a mountain. You really can't tell it on GoPros because you never can tell how steep things are, but this is a steep road, and it's a lot of fun. You can tell the pavement's pretty chewed up in places. I've actually heard that it's about to get paved, so it probably will be done by the time you see this video, so it's definitely worth the trip. Hello, little truck. So the best thing about this is, like I said, it's near Abingdon, Virginia, which is also near a road called the Snake that goes between Mountain City and Bristol, Tennessee, which is an awesome road. It's very popular with motorcycle riders, and that's about, I don't know, maybe 45 minutes to an hour away from here. And then if you go the other direction, you're only about an hour away from back of the Dragon between Marion, Virginia and Tazewell, Virginia, which is also a very good road. And if you get really ambitious and turn this whole thing into a weekend trip and hit all these roads that I'm mentioning here, you could be at Tail of the Dragon, in Tennessee, Deals Gap and all that stuff, in about 2.5, maybe 3 hours from here. 4 if you want to take the scenic route, which is much more fun. As you can see, some places the pavement is all chewed up, like right there. People are not supposed to pull trailers and stuff across here, but they do occasionally, and you can see what it does to the pavement because it's so steep that the trailer ends up grounding out and then it gouges up the road real bad. As you can see, most of these turns, a lot of the sharper turns you're getting down 15-20 miles an hour because they're very sharp. But it's a lot of fun because you have these little short straightaways in between, so you're going from 20 miles an hour to 65, 70, maybe 80 if you want to push it, but then you're right back on the brakes and slowing back down for the next turn, which I've said many times in many videos, that is the most fun that you can have on motorcycle, is that constant back and forth between 20 and 50, 60, 70 miles an hour. And the really cool thing about it is, and you can see the road all the way up there from trailers and stuff, but the cool thing about this kind of road is, yeah, you can wreck, but you're probably not going to be going crazy fast when you do. Yeah, you're going to slide off the mountain, bounce off a tree or two, but probably not going to die. You're just going to feel like an idiot and tear your stuff up if you do. And of course, there is wildlife from here. You're always going to see deer. I've seen bear, turkeys, possums, raccoons, all that kind of stuff. All the normal things that you see out in the nature, wandering around on the road. And you do need to be careful if you come, if it's stormed in the last day or two, because, you see all these trees overhanging the road. All those leaves that fall off those trees end up on the road. When it rains, there's little tree branches and tree limbs and twigs and all that kind of stuff on the road. So you want to be careful about that. It's not a racetrack. You can ride on it spiritedly, but you don't need to be going all super gung-ho aggressive about it, because that's a good way to end up in the bushes. Big right-hand turn. And I've actually noticed as you get a little closer to the top, it actually opens up a little bit more and you'll have a little bigger straightaways. I know there's one, I think it's still a couple turns up from here, but you really could carry a lot of speed up one of them, but you have to be paying attention because you're not going to go very far before you're going to hit another turn that completely turns back the other direction. It's just such a fun ride because you're constantly doing stuff, changing gears, brakes, clutch, throttle, brakes, clutch, throttle, change gears. You're just constantly doing things and you're very busy. I love that. That is the best part of riding, I think. That's one of those areas where you can get on the throttle pretty hard, but then you have to get back on the brakes pretty quickly. We're getting pretty close to the top here. I think there's about, I don't know, maybe another half a mile before we reach the very top of it. And going back down the other side's a whole different thing, which I'll make a different video about that because it's a completely different road. It's 180 degrees different than this road. Yes, it's still curvy, but it actually cuts down to a one lane, basically. So it's a whole different feel to that road. You can't play around on it nearly as much. There's a lot more gravel and stuff, but I'll show you that in a minute. But yeah, we're coming up to the top of it right now, and you'll see a parking area over to the left that goes to the Great Channels, which is actually worth your time. It's about a 5-mile hike. It's straight the hell up the mountain, walking up the mountain. It's a tough hike to get up, really easy to get back down. Totally worth the time. But anyway, that's the top, so we're starting down the backside now, and there'll be a different video for that one because it's really cool.